Let's turn now to the other big story of the day, Amazon and Apple earnings. Let's kick it off here with Apple as we're taking a look at shares down pre-market here by about 1.6%. Of course, there's so much focus with this company always around the iPhone because of the lion's share of the revenue that it does bring in. That iPhone actually set a September quarter record, $46.2 billion. That was up 6% from a year ago. And they mentioned on the call that it had growth in every geographic segment here. And of course, they also use that opportunity to talk about some of the features that are going to be coming with Apple Intelligence once they finally do hit. But I might have finally been sold on getting a new iPhone.
Really?
Maybe. Yeah, based on what I heard on the call, I think I'm ready. And based on my cracked screen, I think I'm ready.
Yeah, on your cracked screen alone, I think that might outweigh anything we heard on the call. But I think there is still certainly a lot of uncertainty when it comes to Apple in the future and really what the next couple of quarters hold, especially with China. That weakness there really overshadowing some of that better than expected news that we are getting out, or that we did get out last night. And that's one of the reasons that we are looking at some pressure on the stock here this morning. A lot of that guidance, investors questioning how long some of that weakness is going to last. Some of the quick reaction that I'm going through on the street here this morning saying that it is anticipated that China is going to remain a weak market here looking ahead to the fiscal Q1. And then I think beyond that, as we talk about some of the other disappointments maybe within this report, you're taking a look at services revenue as well as iPad wearables. That all missed on revenue. Guidance also coming in just below expectation. So again, another reason why we are seeing the stock under a bit of pressure. Beyond that, though, there were some highlights when it comes to the new iPhone, the new upgrade cycle, what exactly demand looks like for that, the fact that that did come in better than expected, the fact that we are seeing maybe slightly higher demand than many had forecasted, especially on the heels of so many research reports and various surveys that have been published over the last several months, alluding to the fact that maybe some of that uptick was going to be more muted. So I think that puts some of that debate at least to rest to now. But I think a lot is riding on what exactly Apple Intelligence looks like down the line as we do get the next iteration release and exactly what that's going to do, if it is going to be enough to spark a real demand here for that cycle.
Yeah, apple pie in the sky hopes for services here. And the reason I zero in on that is because, as you mentioned, it was something that the street expected to come in better than it did. Let's not forget that it still was a record quarter for services, an all-time revenue record of $25 billion. If you carved out this services business alone on an annualized rate and say you apply that $25 billion across 4 quarters going forward from here, that's a $100 billion business in itself sitting within Apple here. So at the end of the day, there's so much margins that they can extract from that services business and really invest into other parts of the Apple ecosystem and the Apple sphere, if you will. And I mean, yeah, for the disappointment that there may have been from the street, I still am looking at this and saying, okay, there's still a lot of value within that services business.
Yeah, and I also think, just going back to the iPhone, to the Apple features, that rollout, what the additional rollout is going to look like, just in terms of whether or not it's going to really significantly boost that demand going forward. What it's going to look like in the coming months will certainly be very telling, I think, as you look ahead to even a year from now.